I'm going to show you how to make the most straightforward pasta sauce that you can make in a big batch, so you can stick it in the fridge so that when you come home from work and you're hungry, you can just whip up some pasta, pour in your sauce, bit of cheese, you're done. To do that, you are going to need passata, okay? For today, I'm going to use 1 carton, but if you want to make a big batch, literally 2, 3, 4, you can do as many as you like. So passata, you're going to need some oregano. You can use fresh herbs if you want. I'm not going to do that today because I'm going to go super basic, but I will tell you when you can put fresh herbs in. So you could do basil, you can do oregano, any soft herbs basically. You're going to need fresh garlic. If you've got it, some red wine. If you don't have it in the house, don't worry, you don't have to put it in. It just adds a little bit of body. And then olive oil, okay? Salt and pepper, and that's it. So I'm just going to show you what to do here, and then I'm going to take it over to the hob, and then on the hob I'll show you how to cook it, and then it's done. So I'm going to get my garlic, and I really just want, because I want the flavour, but obviously we can't have the flesh, we're going to have 2 cloves, okay? We're going to keep them whole. The easiest way to peel a clove of garlic is to crush it on the back of a knife, take the top off, take the end off, and then you really simply just peel it. There you go, a lovely garlic clove. So I'm going to do that again for the second one. Crush with my big mighty arms. End off, bottom off. Lovely clove of garlic, okay? That's all of my prep done. Imagine that, it's amazing. Okay, so now we're going to go over. Okay, so I'm over at the hob now. I'm going to put my hob at about 4, so it's in the middle, and in the middle to high, medium high we call it in the industry. I'm using olive oil. If you've got sun-dried tomatoes or anything like that in a jar, feel free to use the oil from that in there to give it extra flavour. You could even chop a few sun-dried tomatoes up, give it some density, but again we're going super basic. So I'm warming up my oil. The rule is the oil is hot before the food goes in, okay? So I'm just literally just keeping my hand over it, waiting for it to warm up. Some super fun times. You get to see my lovely face. So, hey. I've talked about, we're going to put some wine in. If you haven't got wine, but you have got cocoa, as in cooking chocolate powder. Cooking chocolate powder? Just cocoa powder. You can put in a teaspoon of cocoa powder instead, because that just gives it a bit of rich. Again, you don't have to put either of those 2 things in if you don't want to. The oil is warming up, I can feel it with my hand. My lovely 2 cloves of garlic in the oil. They're just going to warm up. Once they start to flavour the oil, and you'll know they've started to flavour the oil because they'll start to make like hissy poppy sounds. Let me get my spoon out as well. That's when we can add our passata. So while I'm waiting for the garlic to brown, I'm going to open up my passata. This would also be the time if you had fresh herbs that you wanted to put in with it. So if you had basil or oregano, that you would chop those up, dice them up really, well, I was going to say really fine. You can do it as big or as jagged or as tiny or whatever as you want. I'm actually going to turn it up a little bit just so that it speeds up the process, because I want to show you how quick it can be as well as how easy it can be. Okay, so we can see the oil starting to move around. You can't hear that, so I'm going to bring the pan over to you in a second. You might be able to hear it actually. Okay, so can you see that oil is all super slippy? I know oil's slippy anyway, but when it starts to move around and be super slippy, that's when you know that it is good and it's hot and it's starting to take on the flavour of the garlic, okay? So I've got my garlic on, I've got my passata open. If I was using fresh herbs, they go in now. I'm not, it's fine. So because my garlic has started to brown, and you know it's going brown because it goes brown, you can check it, and if you're not sure, just flip it over. You'll be able to see on the other side when it starts to take colour on, because that colour means that you've got flavour. And all I'm going to do is add in, you can hear that sizzle, you know it's hot, a whole carton of passata. And as I said, If you want to do 4, do 4. If you want to make a big old batch, if you're going to do 4 cartons of passata, just up your garlic quantity so that it gets more flavour in that oil. You could have super garlicky oil and 1 carton of passata if you wanted to. You could put in a whole bowl of garlic, as long as you're not eating that flesh, keep it safe for your belly. So I've put in a whole thing of passata. Yum, 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 yum. You can hear it bubbling. So making sure that it's down on about, once it starts bubbling, we turn it down a bit. Once it starts bubbling, I'm going to add in a little splash of red wine for that depth, but you can give it a splash of cocoa powder, literally a splush. Put in some oregano. So I've got dried oregano here to give it flavour. I'm going to do like, teaspoon. But again, put more in if you like more. You can put dried basil in, dried thyme, really nice. I'm going to put in a teaspoon of salt. And just a little shake of pepper. But again, you do you, Bevs. It's bubbling a bit quite nicely. You should be able to see that, you should be able to hear it a little bit, hopefully. Just going to mix it through together so that all those flavours combine. And you know what? That's it. Yeah, it is. What I'm going to do is turn it down to, once it bubbles up again, now that I've stirred it up, I'm going to turn it down to 2, 3, or maybe even 1, 2, so that it just starts to reduce and make the flavour really intense. And that takes about 20 minutes. And that's it, literally that's it. If you're in a rush and you want your food on the table in 5 minutes, you can keep it up high, let it bubble, like it will go really fast, like really blippy and really spitty and that sort of thing. Absolutely fine, it just concentrates the flavour quicker, but you don't get quite the same depth, but you can absolutely do that if you want your dinner in 5 minutes. But this way, slower, longer, more flavours, time to develop, yada yada yada. So just drop it down to like 1 or 2 and just stir occasionally, okay? So that it doesn't stick. And then I'll show you what okay, right then. So it's been on for about 20 minutes. You can hear it bubbling. Basically, I'm going to put it in a little bowl. I'm going to show you because it's done. I'm going to have this with my dinner. I've got some aubergines in the oven roasting away. And I'm going to put that with through some pasta. So I'll take a picture and add that on the end so you can see what my beautiful food looks like. But what I want to show you really quickly, just what the consistency of this. I'm just going to put it in a little bowl because I'm not a fancy pants anything. I'm a straight up lady, as you know. But you should be able to see here, look, a lovely thick pasta sauce. Smells a bit garlicky, a bit oregano-y. I added in a little pinch of oregano as I was cooking because you always taste as you go. It's super rich. Stick that through your pasta. Really, really easy, okay? You don't need pre-made anything. You can do it yourself and it's really, really easy and really, really tasty. And it means that you'll be making sure that you're eating things that are belly kind, okay? Right, love you. I'll see you later.